Hello and welcome to For the Love of Nature, a podcast where we tell you everything you need to know about nature and probably more than you wanted to know. I'm Laura.
And I'm Katy, and this is the first of a series for the mini-sodes that we're going to have, the little in-between bites of the long episodes, because Laura and I mean, we've been doing this for 3.5 years now, and that's impressive for us to begin with. And so we're just going to chop these up. And so
we've learned this about ourselves, that we need these breaks.
Yeah, we absolutely do. We just juggle a lot. And so these ones are going to be talking about caves and just how they contain some of nature and humanity's greatest secrets. So this first one, Laura and I just focused on cool things that have been found, just in general, just things that have been found in caves. Yeah. And again, I was pretty excited about this one. So I'm happy for the ones that I picked. And I also, again, we promised everybody that we would do more stuff on Patreon. And so this episode is going to kick that off because I put my script that I wrote into ChatGPT and I had it generate images based off of what I wrote. So Laura, we can totally, after this too, we can put your notes into it and then we can have it generate images and we can upload on Patreon because they're pretty epic.
Yeah, because the actual sites are definitely worth seeing, at least 2 of mine.
Yeah, but ChatGPT images are way better because
I just like
outlandish things. So I'll show you after every one of mine, then I'll show you what the image was. There's some pretty good ones here.
Cool.
All right, do you want to go ahead and go first with yours?
Sure. This was totally new for me. I had never heard of this thing before. This took the Google search of what if that we found in caves?
Yeah.
Because I was like, I just want something different. And I got it. So this is Movile Cave, which is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, which lets you know it's important. And it's in Mangalia in southeastern Romania. I'm probably butchering these names. I'm sorry, any Romanians. But it's very, very close to the Black Sea and a couple of kilometers from the Black Sea. And I looked up a picture of this cave site, and it's literally just under high tension lines. You would never know that this thing was here. It was discovered in 1986, so very recently, by Christian Lascu at the bottom of an 18-meter shaft that was dug to see if it would be a good place for a nuclear power plant. So they were like, let's sink a hole. Let's see what's down here under these high tension lines, and then right through. So it's this shaft, and this is the only way that this place is accessed via this shaft, and it is closed off at all times to keep the outside atmosphere from coming in.
That makes sense, yeah.
What they found at the bottom of this 18-meter shaft, you know what?
It's not, roughly, it's not that deep.
It's not that deep.
A cave, yeah.
But, so it is, picture in your head, it's 240 meters long horizontally, okay? That's the dry part of, most parts of it are dry and parts of it are wet. It's made out of limestone. So it's just like this big, long, tubular thing that goes up and down. And the reason why this cave is so important, it has had no natural entrance for the last 5.5 million years. It has been completely isolated from the outside world, which is like, okay, cool. And how do they for sure know that it's been isolated for a long time? Because it shows no radioactive isotopes from Chernobyl. So nothing has percolated through the ground from Chernobyl, which is not that far away. Yeah. So it is not a very hospitable cave.
I mean, I would imagine.
Yes. It is. Oxygen is very low in some parts. CO2 is very high in the lower parts of the cave. There's methane in the air. So as soon as you open it up, it literally just smells like the entrance to hell because the methane and ammonia and hydrogen sulfide that's in the air. So it's like, the actual temperature and stuff isn't so bad. It's actually 70 degrees, which is still actually a little high for being underground.
Yeah, I was gonna say, for a cave, that's toasty. I guess all the methane and all the gases
I think that
and
is
stuff
what
like
it is.
that would definitely raise the temperature.
But it does have a relative humidity of 100%. So
Jiminy Christmas,
and no air movement. So you go down there, and it might not be hot, but if you
like
do
Florida.
Sweat, it's pure. Yeah, it's no sweat is coming off of you, and no airflow because you were just underground in this complete isolation. This is the reason that this cave, okay, so yes, it's isolated, but the reason it's a UNESCO World Heritage Site is these heritage sites either have to be something with culture or something biological. And this is incredibly important find biologically because it is the only known terrestrial habitat that relies on chemosynthesis to survive. So let me break that down for anybody else out there. This is basically like a deep sea vent ecosystem. This, the only other place they exist on Earth is down, 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 where there is no light at all.
Yeah.
And you have to get energy from somewhere. Basic ecosystem rule. Energy comes from somewhere. You don't make it. So if it doesn't come from sun, it has to come from something else. And it is coming from things that feed off of the methane and the hydrogen sulfide in the water. So certain things like bacteria and microorganisms process that methane, sulfur, and ammonia that is found in the water. They form microbial mats, and then larger things feed on those mats and on one another. So it's the only known system on Earth like that terrestrially, because it's been cut off. And the reason why there is so much methane and sulfur and things is they accidentally...
Jiminy Christmas, hang on, the dog scared the bejeebers out of me.
Talking about underground caves.
All right.
As we're talking about creepy things found in underground caves.
That was Otto, my dog. He just so Luke, I guess, has been sitting in there. Laura and I are recording at night. He's been sitting in there reading because he couldn't fall asleep. So I just went into his room. He should have been asleep by now, but I went into his room. All of his lights are on. He has books all sprawled out. He turned on his lava lamp and he's just hanging out. So
big chill.
So he just came to check. He said he came to check on me. I was like, thanks, bud. Yeah.
As we talk about creepy caves.
Yeah, right. Go ahead, continue.
So these microbial mats, larger things feed on them. And like I said, it's the first subterranean chemosynthesis-based ecosystem ever discovered. And I guess for many listeners out there, you might be like, whoa, that doesn't sound like much. But it is a completely new thing on planet Earth, found completely by accident. And I was saying the reason why all of this methane and sulfur and everything is even in here is that they accidentally found it's an aquifer, which we've talked about in a past episode with you guys in Texas. So the aquifer is the water that is within a rock layer. And this one it's shifted over time, but there is a thermal spring within this cave system somewhere that they haven't accessed yet. Basically, the water is bubbling up through the aquifer, and it's bubbling up with all of this methane and ammonia and sulfur.
But again, this goes back to, the smell of it alone. Who was the person? You smell it and you're like, you know what? We should explore this.
I know, right?
You know what I mean?
Well, I'd just be afraid it would eat my flesh from my bones.
I would immediately be
you don't even know what's in the water.
Bury it back up.
Yeah.
Fill in the hole and just let it go. It's been doing fine for the last 5 million years.
5 million years. They think it was the last time they think it probably got colonized back 5.5 million years ago.
Crazy.
And it's been doing its thing ever since with no light. Gosh. It truly is a completely different planet.
Yeah.
It has never seen the light of day in 5.5 million years. And there are things that live down there. And by things, I mean 51 species of invertebrates. Okay.
Dang.
Because that's the only thing that's living down there.
50, but still, I was just saying 51.
51 species.
That much of a variety.
And what's interesting is only 30 to 37 of those are endemic, which means found nowhere else on Earth. So they're obviously it was colonized because you can find some of these species in other places on Earth.
Yeah, but so that's interesting. Yeah, but that's interesting because it's been 5 million years.
Completely different. Yeah, completely different life forms. But we're talking leeches, scorpions, spiders, worms, snails. The biggest thing in there, I believe, is called the cave king. And of course, it's a centipede.
I mean, of course, the cave king,
Cave king, centipede, because that's the biggest, baddest predator they got down there. But if you are interested, a lot has been done on this cave. SciShow has something on it, and then just check out the GESS lab. I guess that's the guest lab. Those are the people who are actually doing much of the research. They actually only allow a few researchers in per year because this needs to stay as undisturbed as possible in order to keep this ecosystem intact. So Movile Cave, an isolated cave from 5.5 million years ago.
Dang, that's pretty cool. Well, that wraps up the first of the cave chronicles that we're going to do with Laura's cool cave. And then next week, I will pick up mine with a may or may not mythical creature. Maybe or maybe not mythical creature. Well, the name of one, but it's not really one. Or is it really one?
Now I need to know.
Tune in next week, or tune in for 2 weeks. 2 weeks.
Thankfully, I get to wait 2 minutes, and you guys have to wait till next week.
No, 2 weeks from now, because next week will be will be a regular episode. So next week we'll be back again to regular episodes. It'll be long episode and then shorter ones, the cave ones, and then flip flop back and forth. So make sure you guys visit us on Patreon. We'll be posting the pictures up on there, like I said.
Check out some Movile Cave.
Yeah. So all right, guys, check us out on Patreon, and until next week, we'll talk to you later.
See ya.